Brunei Darussalam, known the world over as a reliable source of oil and gas, is acquiring an additional reputation as custodian of the rainforest. In January 2010, building on the successful launch of its conservation project, the Heart of Borneo, with neighbouring Malaysia and Indonesia, Brunei set out its stall as a place where science could tackle what many regard the greatest challenge of our age: global warming. Under the patronage of His Majesty the Sultan and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, and using the international connections of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, UBD, University Brunei Darussalam, invited young scientists from across Asia and Europe to its Bandar campus, and then to a field studies centre at Kuala Belelong, deep in the Borneo jungle. Their mission: to deepen understanding of the impact of climate change on biodiversity.
I am delighted to officially open the ASEM workshop towards understanding the impact of global climate change on biodiversity and tropical rainforests.
Those of you who come from temperate countries, UK, from Slovakia, from Poland, are already seeing the effects of climate change that we've experienced over the last few decades. But in the lowland tropics, there's actually very little evidence that anything's happening at present. And to a large extent, we're speculating about what's going to happen in the future.
The Heart of Borneo project has the opportunity to take this total ecosystem approach to make the point in a country which still is acting in this stewardship role and protection role for some of the best and most biodiverse forests in the whole of this part of Asia. There are many different types of forest within the Southeast Asian region, and many of those are on mineral soils which are not waterlogged soils. And the big difference with peat swamp forest is that in the peat swamp forest you have a high water table throughout the year. And because of that high water level, it actually generates the substrate on which the forest forms. So you have waterlogging, which prevents most of the material that falls from the forest, whether it's leaves or branches or trunks, from actually decaying. So the unique thing about the peat swamp forest is that they actually control, to a large extent, the environment. They generate their own environment. But any interference with that environment will lead to a loss of both the carbon that's stored in the forest and the carbon that's ultimately stored in the peat. So the regional significance and the global significance of peat swamp forests is largely associated with their high carbon storage.
Climate change is a serious problem. We are not headed towards a sustainable path, and we need to do something about it.
This short film is a tribute to Brunei's vision. It also celebrates the supporting role played by British academics, fittingly, given the long association between Kuala Belelong and the Royal Geographical Society, and the role played by the young British scientists who accepted Brunei's invitation. They have helped get the word out that Brunei, its peat swamps and upland rainforest, its scientific and eco-tourist infrastructure, and its far-sighted ruler can be part of the answer to climate change.
The forest here is actually mass flowering or mass fruiting now. And this is actually a very rare event in the forest which coincides with El Nino. And what I heard is the forest of Kuala Belelong is experiencing one of the biggest mass in the past 10 years. So you are very lucky to come at the right time. And tomorrow when you go out to the forest, you might see a lot of fruits on the ground.
Along the way, they made friends from a score of nations and showed the true meaning of scientific collaboration.
whatever the densiometer to quantify whether there is a gap or not. So then we will measure the light into the closed canopy, and then how much sunlight is coming to an open canopy area. Then only we will get an idea whether there is an effect of climate change or not.
If you look at this is frequency. If you plot all the trees here, okay, if you're in a particular area, the graph is going to be like that. It is called inverted J-shape. Okay, and push it with that and take the pole. So this is the maximum you can do it. Don't twist it further, because if you do twist it, it is going to take in a slant, and the ring is going to be different.
Easy, and it's also very hardy because it's plastic. So first thing is to tie one end of the plastic band. Okay, that's enough. Okay, adjust it so that it's perpendicular to the tree. Okay, good idea. You can tell me easily, by having this angle and this distance, how do we get this height?
160 feet.
163? No, we don't have it.
They're completely different groups of animals. So the termites are really primitive. These are primitive. They're known as Exopterygota. So they don't. You'll find a lot of different stages, but they are animals that show this metamorphosis without the worm stage. Insects, okay. And ants, which are forming a big colony as well. They're one of the most advanced insects, known as Hymenoptera, the order Hymenoptera. Ants, bees, and wasps.
We'll have a look at that in the lab.
Yeah.
So what you want to do now is sort out all your specimens, identify them, and we'll help you try to finish service.
And that also can deposit on the plant. So you might want to have a closer look at it, whether it is actually a carbon or the plant oozing out something. So you might misinterpret it.
We spent 10 days together, sharing experiences and debating ideas. We hope all of you exchange contact details and continue to interact and collaborate with each other long after the end of this workshop. In University Brunei Darussalam, we will be stepping up our efforts in promoting environmental education and research into the